know I want to be around no coyotes at night and walking up the street. Sammy Davis Jr.
Oh,
came up to me.
we don't all look alike now.
Leave my people alone. Leave my people alone. But she knew I was somebody. And they said, oh, fourth place, Eddie Murphy. And Eddie's face went, are you out of your mind? He didn't say anything. And I said, oh, he's not a good loser. The chance to work with Lucille Ball.
Oh.
Oh, yes. But people act like we did.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special Comedy Divas Girl Talk podcast, part 2. I'm Sharon Brathwaite, a.k.a. Sharon B, the host and founder of Comedy Divas. Last week, we had the pleasure of having Anna Maria Horsford. You see her in countless projects. You see her in Amen. You see her in Friday. You see her in so many things. And she blessed us with the most amazing stories. We just had to put it in 2 parts. So if you haven't seen the first part, please go watch it on our channel and then come back and see the continuation. So without further ado, here's part 2. And you worked on The Last OG with Tracy Morgan. So what was it like to work on that?
Tracy became my son.
Oh.
And I did not know that until as soon as I walked in, Ma, he went in character and never came out. Came out. Talk about such an interesting spirit who only deals in truth. So he would do improv that you didn't know was going to happen, but straight with him. He said something about, my mother, you put me out at 16. I said, because you violated the one prayer that I had. If I said your father destroyed me when he went to jail, got on drugs and went to jail, and the only thing that I had in mind was to keep you away from that, to find out that I failed. You weren't the only one in jail. For the whole time you were in jail, your mother was in jail with you. So True. You talk about free you ain't never, no, we got to be free together, but it's not one. You can't have a child and say, oh, I'm going to, because he does something bad. And he looked at me, he said, I never thought of it that way. I said, yeah, I was locked up in the penitentiary for the time you were there. And it's so interesting because he's one that wants to learn more about himself on a daily basis. So sometimes the security guard would look at me, he said, he needs his mother today.
Oh,
and I said, okay.
Wow.
And we had many discussions about the wife and the dad. I said, no. You changed the contract. You wanted pretty. You got pretty. Now all of a sudden you change the contract. You want intelligence and sensitivity. This and that. Stop. I said, you changed the contract. They said, so I did. I said, yeah, well now. And you said, so we had very, very good, and he used to get mad. And I said, fine, get mad at me. I don't care. But it was a very, I'm telling you, very interesting. We were on the same frequency level. Because when you work with people, it's the frequency. Some people you work with, they're lower frequency, so they can go off and cuss people out and do all of that. No. The acting part is the means to meet all the people's whose lives we're supposed to affect.
Yeah.
If you choose to use it, because there are a lot of talented people I know that didn't want to be in the business, or they gave it up. They said, no. If you accept your assignment, then you say, oh, this is not just about me getting the accolades. This is about me being on YouTube or CBS and affecting somebody in that audience. And I don't have to know that. So your ego can't get that big because you're not in charge of that. There's a power much stronger than you. You understand? A woman came over to me. This is during Amen. And she says, hey. I said, hey. She was a little hostile. And I said, she said, you know, you're funny. I said, oh, thank you. And I knew I wasn't supposed to ask too many questions. Then she came back over and said, you know, I wasn't in a good place one night. And I happened to have the TV on. And you broke me. She said, you made me laugh. And I changed my mind. And that's all she.
Ooh.
And I said, oh, okay, thank you.
Wow.
You know, you don't ask anymore. Whatever was going on, that I guess she felt it wasn't worth killing herself if she could still laugh.
Mm.
Now, I'm not in charge of that. That's a power that exists. You understand?
Yeah.
People you meet on the street, you talk to, you say, we think we're in charge of that. The only thing we're in charge of is how we feel. So if I give you joy and laughter, good. But other people see you and say, oh, I don't think you're so funny. Honey, fine. Fine. Cry for me. Cry
to each his own.
Tina. Leave me alone, okay? So as much as we want to, just, as they say, mind your business. Mind your business. Do your business. And I'll take care of the rest.
Did you ever, you worked on Amen, you worked on Wayans Bros, these with some really funny people. Did you ever break? Was there ever a time that you broke? That somebody did? No, okay.
No.
Nice.
No.
Because you were with some funny people, so it's hard not to break.
But you're in character.
Okay.
See, I believe in my character. No, you don't. It was one time Katt said something, we were on the last OG, and he said something, I said, you will not be the first. You will not be the first. He said, what you mean? I said, I have never broken, but you better stop that discussion right now, okay? Stop it.
You mean Katt Williams?
Yeah. Because we did the Friday After Next. He was in.
Yeah. Yes. He played the pimp.
He played the pimp, okay? Terry Crews locked up in the bathroom, okay? Ooh, Lord, yeah. But it was nice work because that was his first movie.
Yes.
He was homeless and he came in, and there was another girl. She was there, and I said, no. Get wardrobe to bring a robe. You ain't selling sex. We selling comedy. We selling comedy. Let them, every time we cut down, put a robe on. Okay?
Oh, good. One
so
thing about you have somebody like you. Yeah.
Well, you whispered, and they can believe you or not. They don't have to. But just to know, I think the wonderful thing, because people say you're so nice, I don't have any reason not to be nice. You know what I'm saying? I have no reason not to be. I am doing something that I said I wanted to do since I was a little girl. I told Mommy, I said, Mommy, I got to get to Hollywood. I got to go to Hollywood. I got to go to Hollywood.
And you did it.
Yeah, I know. Can you believe
you did it?
So God heard the prayer.
He heard the prayer. And you did.
I wasn't in Hollywood. I didn't tell him I want to be around no coyotes at night and walking up the street. But it's okay. Okay. He said I can handle that.
So I always like to ask people too, was there ever any celebrity encounter like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe this person knows me or I'm meeting this person right now?
Yes. Sammy Davis Jr. Came up to me at the Hollywood parade and his wife was standing there. He said, Altaviz, tell her, Altaviz. And poor Altaviz said, we have to tape you if we go out on Saturday night.
Aww.
Now let's talk about
on.
Love.
One of the best entertainers of all time.
Madea and poor Altaviz, who obviously probably wanted to erase them tapes. We have to tape you if we go out. And I said, really? He said, I adore you. I said, thank you. There's so many that are just wonderful that I got a chance to. Phyllis Diller I met.
Oh, she was a hoot.
She was a hoot. And it's funny when they meet you because she was one of these kind of really interesting. Okay. And she was looking at, I had a piece of jewelry on. She said, I like that. I said, I like what you have on too. Because a lot of them, they don't know, but they'll ask after, who is that? Who is that? Okay. Carol Channing came up to me at a party and said, I just love you and your husband. And when you sing that song, Up, Up and Away. And I said, oh. I said, thank you. I'll tell her. I know her.
Nothing like Marilyn McCool. Oh, my gosh. We don't all look alike that way.
Leave my people alone. Leave my people alone. But she knew I was somebody, okay? Somebody, because I had more. I said, it's okay. Okay, it's all right. But maybe she thought I was a cousin, because, we found out she was black. Okay, so maybe she thought I was a cousin of hers. I don't know.
Miss Carol Channing, hello, Dolly.
But let me tell you what my prize was. The chance to work with Lucille Ball.
Oh,
yes. Yes. And I said, because I loved her, watched her every single week, when I was a little girl. And the idea that I had this job with her, and everybody said, first, there were 2 compliments. You remind me of Lucille. And the second one, when Pearl Bailey dies, girl, you gonna be something. And I kept saying, I don't want Pearl Bailey to die. I want me to be something. Stop. They think they're complimenting you. You said, okay, let Pearl live, okay? But Lucille was something else because I just adored her. And she called me over. I did this security guard, and I said, now, listen, Miss Ball, let me tell you, if I even pinch your arm, please tell me, because I know I can't hurt Miss Lucy, okay? I said, they will kill me. So the next day after we shot the scene, she came in with her arm bandage. I said, stop it. I did not hurt you. I did not hurt you. She was something else. She said, come here, sit down. Tell me about who you are. Now, that was a prize for me. Somebody that you sit in your living room from the time you're like this and looking at the screen, and all of a sudden I'm working next to you and manhandling you. That was a prize. And I guess when people see me now, it's the same thing they do. A lot of kids, they said, I remember. And so the fact that every other Black person knows me or my voice. I went to a restaurant last night, Linden, and the security guard came out and we were talking to Jackee and I. And then he said, what? I started laughing. And he said, oh, no, that's you? And then he looked at Jackee. He said, you two of you? 2 of us, hey. And her boyfriend said, and I'm here with the 2 of them. And he said, I know I'm not supposed to, but can I take a picture? I said, well, tell me your name. He said, Timothy. I said, come on, Timothy. Take a picture with Miss Jones and Jackee. Come on. And he became this little boy, this 6'5". He became a little boy. And you say, wow, how sweet is that we have that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That we have that. And it's not just the Black kids. It's the Armenian. I got attacked by a group of 5 Armenians, honey, one day. And I said, how did you recognize me? I'm here minding my business. So who wouldn't recognize you? I said, well, obviously you all did. So come. But it's just how entertainment brings the world together. You know what I mean?
It's also a testament to your work, though, because it's bringing fond memories. It made people laugh and brought people joy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So kudos to you.
I'll take it. I'll take it. As long as you treat me good. Thank you. And as my mother says, be kind to everybody, just in case you slip and fall. You don't know who's going to help you pick it up or who has to give you a cup of tea. She would always give you those things that I never understood. I said, well, suppose I don't want to drink no tea. But her thing was everybody is equal.
Yes.
Everybody is equal. There's nobody better than you and nobody worse than you. They might drink a little more wine than you, do a little more dope, but treat them with respect. And I said, oh, okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And coming from New York, you know that.
Yes, ma'am.
Because we all run into each other.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? Hollywood, you might be able to stay away, but New York, nah.
Yeah.
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 I was working with Ellen Cleghorne.
Oh, yes.
She was my assistant. We did an organization called Black Women in Theater.
Love Ellen. She's another one that's very unsung.
Well, she had her own show.
I know she had her own show, but then she's getting lost in history of Saturday Night Live and all the other things she did, stand up, and she was.
But I think raising children. I think because when she first started, I said, "Are you serious?" Because she said you have to go out every night, every single night.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody can do all of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hard.
You have to keep it up and do it for 5-10 years. You can become exhausted.
It's a grind. That's a really hard grind.
It's a grind.
What were you saying about Ellen? I'm sorry. You were saying something.
Well, I forgot what I was saying about Ellen, but just in terms of just going out every single night. You wait for this to happen, that to happen. She came out here, and then I was so happy when she got her own show, because a lot of people don't transition into that. She was just an actress, and then said, no, I'm going to do stand-up, you know? And we kind of lost touch, which people do, you know? But you still have the memory of a good friendship of 5 to 10 years. I knew her mother, the brother. You know, people, they don't get lost. You know, you might not see them, but they stay up here. You know, the good times, the good times. And I'm sure if we ran into each other, it would pick up from where we left off.
You worked on the Netflix show No Good Deeds.
Yes.
And that was a huge ensemble show. So how did you work on No Good Deeds?
Oh, No Good Deed. I got an offer on that. And I went to the table read, and the guy said, who's playing my son? Of course, nobody ever answers these questions until you get there. And I sat there and I said, oh, I don't know him. It was O.T. Fenabeni. I am so in love with him. I cannot tell you. He's an English guy. He's English and Nigerian. And he did a lot of shows that I had not seen, like The Handmaid's Tale and a lot of the British shows. But I was so taken with him. And I'm so sorry. We didn't get picked up for season 2. I think everybody had. But the best human beings in the world. Lisa Kudrow sent me the greatest little gift. And I said, oh my God. I said, we didn't even have these. But we were the nicest. Ray Romano, I'm good friends with Doris Roberts, who played his mother on the show.
Yes.
I kept it with him. And you just, it's interesting. People say, is there anybody you want to work with? I don't know. I like surprises. Surprise me. You know what I mean? Surprise me.
And I just want to go back to that a little bit because you mentioned Lucille Ball, who was, one of the comedy legends, and she was great at physical comedy. What amount of physical comedy did you interject into Amen, and what did they ask you to do? Because you did some great physical comedy on there.
No, let me just say this. That was the blessing. I did what I wanted to. Nobody asked you. And my grandfather saw it, and he said, I knew you were a little crazy when you were a little girl. I said, what is your problem? But he enjoyed it. He allowed me to take it. You can't, I don't know if you can direct comedy. You either have it or you don't. You know what I mean? It's like, there was one thing when Clifton was doing a commercial and I thought he was getting married. And I asked the producer, I said, can I fly in the church? And he said, fly in. I said, there's a rope outside. Can I come in? And he said, no, Ann, I think that's a little much. And I said, oh, okay. So the next day, we got a rehearsal. He said, this is when I knew men were different. He said, Anna, why don't you try flying in on the rope? I said, God, what a great idea. And flew in the rope. I don't have to, listen, if I got the laugh, I got the laugh. And then when I landed, now this is something that you can't plan. There was some big, tall flower that was between my leg coming in. I did not plan that. And I didn't know what, they kept laughing and laughing. And then at the end, he said, "Oh, you didn't see the flower picture?" I said, no. So you plan a little stuff, and then all the other things happen. The one thing is you don't break.
You don't break.
You go with it.
That's a pro right there.
Yeah.
Because when you work with so many funny people and people who are making you laugh, it's hard not to break. So kudos to you on that.
Yeah.
And what I always like to ask people too, no matter what, you still have a dream. So what is the dream project? What is
Don't have one.
You don't? Okay.
The next one, whatever it is. The next one. What I'm doing in Atlanta is working with, and I got the script, and I called because I start with a look. I said, now how does this person look? Okay. And I'm playing this girl's mother. And I got the number of the head of hair and the head of makeup. Mm-hmm. And I called, I said, can I ask you, how do you see girlfriend? Because you want to ask them first before I give my opinion. And he said, well, girlfriend. I said, I think she's a little gay. He said, no, Anna, she is very ghetto. I said, okay. I said, so she can be raunchy. I said, I just want you to know I'm very open. I will send you 4 or 5 pictures of how I think she could go. You have a choice to pick. Okay? And because the look kind of dictates, when we look at people, we make a judgment by if she's wearing slippers to the grocery store. Now, she knew she wasn't supposed to wear no slippers. Okay, put on some shoes. Okay? Uh-huh. Those are the kind of girls. Or the lashes are too big. The olive oil lashes. Then you can't.
And the bonnet is too big too.
Well, the bonnet is new. That's And who thought those were cute? It's like when the men start wearing one leg up, they would pull the pants up. And I said, now who thought that was cute? The one thing that I'm going to try and get some legislation passed, women should not wear their stomachs out if it comes over the belt loose. Do not do that, please. Put that tummy right back in. Please. Put that tummy right back in.
Put it away.
Okay, put it away. And I'm going to try and start the legislation. I'm going to try and put girdles back in on the etiquette list. Wear girdle. Hold that butt. Okay?
Well, the girdles have been replaced by shapewear and Spanx.
Okay, yeah. Put that on. Put something on. But hide that tummy. We don't need to see that tummy. No. Mm-mm.
Oh, hide that tummy.
Yes.
I always wanted to ask you about, because I'm just going to back you up a little bit, because you see, I'm going somewhere with this. Like, you see the movie, like Robert Townsend had Hollywood Shuffle, and he was saying,
I gave Robert Townsend his first job in New York.
You did what?
I gave him his first job in New York.
Robert Townsend?
Robert Townsend. He came. I was casting director at PBS, and I was doing a show called Watch Your Mouth. It was a sitcom teaching children, inner city children, the importance of standard English. Oh. And Robert Townsend came in the office with this. I was looking for a prince, an African prince. And he came in the office and he had this very strong English accent. And he said, Anna Maria Horsford? And I said, yes. He said, I hear you're a casting person and I wanted to know. And this was the night before we were taping. I had no idea what was I going to do.
Wow.
And we talked for an hour and a half. And I said, Mr. Townsend, you got the job. I said, I didn't know what I was going to do and so. And da. I said, come tomorrow to the Studio 55. He said, fine. And I said, see you. Thank you so much. Because he said he had just gotten in from Europe. And he said, I think it's time. And I'm wondering, should I mention it? I said, mention what? I thought he was going to say he didn't have a social security card or something. He said, you know I'm from Chicago.
He got you.
Got me. I gave Sam Jackson his first job in New York, too. And we became best friends after that. He came in and I was on my way to the airport. And he said, you're a casting director? I said, yes. he said, "Do you have anything for me?" And I said, "Are you good?" And he said, "What?" I said, "Are you a good actor? You said you want a job. Are you a good actor?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, then you got a job. It's a two-parter. Here." I gave him the script. I said, "Report to so-and-so." Now, he didn't know I had to go to the airport. And so years after.
He was at the right place, right time.
Baby, you know, we're best friends. We have been best friends since then. Because he said, "Oh, Anna believed in me." I said, "Yes, I did."
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Wow.
Now, so you're giving people big breaks. I saw another interview with you when you gave also Arsenio his first job, right?
Oh yes. But he didn't remember. Well, he wasn't. He didn't have to remember that. He didn't have to remember. But he had me on his show a lot. And I told him that. And he said, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah." And his mother and I became friends. I said, he just called me. He's writing a book now. He was the first magician. Yeah, right. And remember the publicity his show got when he took over that nighttime show.
For sure.
Unbelievable.
He took over for Joan Rivers.
That's right, because Joan, she quit or what happened?
Remember, it was the big thing with Johnny Carson. He got mad and she got her Fox show and it didn't work. And then Arsenio took it over. And it blew up and it became a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah. That was incredible. Yeah. The black magician. Yeah. And the mother said, I called her. I spoke to her on the phone. And I said, "Did your mother come in?" Because I don't remember meeting. He said, "No, she sent her boyfriend because she said she couldn't take off her job." See, black people keep jobs. Okay?
We're going to get that check.
To pay our bills. Okay? Yeah. So I've been on a few sides of.
But let me go back where I was going. When I was going with Robert, he had Hollywood Shuffle, and he was talking about the roles. You know, he made it because of the roles. People would get just maids and pimps and, and stuff. Yeah. But you actually played a prostitute in St. Elmo's Fire.
Oh, yes. And was so happy.
Because that movie became a huge, another one like cult classic. So how did you get St. Elmo's Fire?
I went and auditioned for Joel Schumacher, and I had a shirt on. And he said, "Where did you get that T-shirt?" And I said, "Martinique." And he said, "Martinique?" I said, "I went shopping for the day. I was in Antigua, and we took a plane over. And I said, I bought this." And he said, "I have to give you a job. Anybody who goes shopping for one day in Martinique needs a job." And I said, fine. And that's how I got that job. And let me tell you, years after, young men come up to me and say the line, "You want a date? Oh, I thought you were gay. That's why I didn't ask you." How that became a memory, who knows? I would have to ask a man why that resonated in their brain. Okay.
Are you the only black person in that movie?
Yes. And the critics said the NAACP should beat me for being the only black person, and I played a prostitute. I was happy. Okay. I was happy with the Brat Pack. Okay. Rob Lowe did not. He did not invite me to be on his podcast or the other one. They did a documentary on it too, on the Black Pack. Yeah.
Oh, I did see that. Andrew McCarthy.
McCartney.
Yeah. He did it.
We had done another movie before that. I had worked with them on
Class?
Huh?
Class? On Class?
Class.
Oh, okay.
You did your research. I was a maid in Class.
Class, yes.
Class. And that was Andrew's first movie. He was a student at NYU. And Rob Lowe and I think that was it my first with Rob? Yeah. Because he told me, we were talking about this guy who told him he'd never make it because he couldn't act. I said, "He told you that?" He said, "Yeah." And I said, "That wasn't nice." He did done a TV movie with this guy, and the guy hated him. Just said, "No, you're just a good looking face. You'll never act."
He was jealous. Yeah.
The people are just
Yeah.
And I
He was
guess
a beautiful young man.
he was a beautiful young man, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I said that was not, I mean, people will say some interesting things. Maybe it motivated him because he's had one of the longest careers. Okay.
Yep. And he still looks good.
And still, yeah, good genes. Yeah. Yeah. So that was that. But I didn't mind playing with her. There were actresses who said they would never play a prostitute. And I said, oh, I always thought as long as I was thin enough that somebody would hire me to be a prostitute, that was a compliment to me. I said, from my brownstone to the subway, hey, Slim. I said, okay. You know, because we judge how we look by all the catcalls you get on the street. You can't do that anymore. That's illegal now.
That's real, though. No, it still goes on in New York, though.
Oh, okay, good.
You want to get your ego stroke, you walk down the street in New York.
Good. I'm glad all of that has not been taken away. Yes. And listen, I am not mad at God. I said, I hope I did you well, because you did really well. Just the people that you never expect to work with. My mother thought I made it when I worked with Mickey Rooney. Okay. That was a big deal. And my father thought I made it when I worked with Cecily Tyson. He said, you really made it now. And I said, oh, okay, interesting. So they had their own levels of accomplishment. Okay.
What bar that you were able to reach. Yeah.
So, Mickey Rooney and Cecily Tyson, those two. Okay. And Cecily tried to take my man. She took Lou Gosset from me. She tried to take Lou Gosset from me.
Tried to take Lou Gosset.
We had one interesting thing because the script was written where I cussed him out. And I said, oh, I can't do that. I said, Michael Schultz. I said, Michael, I won't ask you to change the words, but can I use the same cussing out I was supposed to give to Benny, which was Lou, to Cecily? I said, because she's the one interfering. I know he wouldn't treat me like that. It was her that's bothering him. I said, plus, if I cussed him out in the same bar where we go, the next scene would have to be him kicking my behind, because you can't cuss no man out like that. And no, not at his familiar place. And he said, yeah. I said, you can't do that. I said, I could not do that in a public arena. Not this man I'm living with. I said, so let me do it to her. And he let me.
He let you.
And then, after I did her, I looked at him and I said, why would you hurt me like that? Okay? Now, who was crying? Okay? Everybody was crying for me. For me. I didn't have to cry. And I said, I said, you do.
Because everybody's been there. They've been there. They can empathize. Yeah.
They definitely could. And that's the importance of having input. And I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to. So if I got on a set and did certain things, I would tell the director, can I try this, that? Not to say it's bad, but can I just, Nice. On Amen, he wanted us to have a food fight. I said, no, first of all, you cannot stand on your parents' furniture. They're plastic covers on it.
Hello. No.
We don't play with food. Okay? Because somebody
costs too much.
And beat, right. Okay? No. I said, so we can't. And he laughed, and all the cast members said, no, we don't have food fights.
That's the truth.
Throwing no potatoes at nobody. No. So they changed that. So culturally, we are different. Okay?
That's real.
And they change it. And, if you say it with that kind of conviction, and I think that people listen. It's not an insult to say, no, this is not believable in that sense. And I did that with How High, too, because there was a line where I said, you're stupid or something. And both of us, we were rehearsing. It was him and I. We were in the hotel. And he said, I don't like. I said, no, I would not call my child stupid.
Right.
I said, no. You acted ignorant, but you can't. No.
You
Okay.
acting a damn fool.
Yeah.
But you know,
But
you're
you
not,
can't do that. And he was so happy. And I said, because it's not us. We would not. We know better than to call a child that name, because that goes right to the heart. And children remember. And I said, no. And then I told him about he had to get some papers. So all my kids had papers from the barbershop school, from the GED, all that. Okay. Now get your papers. Okay. You got to get some papers. Okay. Yeah. I have a good time when I work with my peoples.
Well, just one more person you work with. I'm gonna let you, before I let you go. You worked with another legend, which was Eddie Murphy on the Nutty Professor. What was that like?
Yes.
Seeing that process
Got
happen?
that job 2 days before. I think somebody else was supposed to do it. Yeah. Didn't have to audition. They booked me for that. I just saw that the opening of that, which was really funny. Him and Janet. Yeah. Janet, I played her mother. They asked us to take some mother and daughter pictures. And we looked at each other and said, what are mother and daughter pictures? She said, I have no idea. I said, me either. But we will stand here and act like we do. Yes. Yeah. I remember seeing on HBO contest. And this was years before. And I remember seeing it, and he lost the contest. It was 5 comedians. And
this is back in New York, in the New York days.
I don't know where the contest took place, but I was looking. It was I think it was an HBO thing. And they announced that he didn't win. And Eddie's face went, are you out of your mind? He didn't say anything. And I said, oh, he's not a good loser. Because he acted like they were out of his mind. He knew who he was supposed to be. They did not know. I cannot tell you the other 4 people that came in ahead of him. But isn't that interesting? I said, oh, he's not a good loser. He was so insulted. And they said, oh, 4th place, Eddie Murphy. And I remember seeing him it was the Ebony Showcase on thing when he came in. And the first thing I said to him, I remember seeing you in that contest. And I said, I couldn't believe, because you acted out. No, they had no idea who Eddie Murphy was going to be. Wow. He did, which is why he thought it was so ridiculous for him to lose. I could not believe it. I thought that was the most brilliant thing in the world. Yeah.
Wow. So when you worked on the Clumps, but so you only worked with him playing Sherman, so you didn't have to work with the multiple characters, right?
Right. Okay. He was only Sherman. But I was at the bridal shower. Who was he at the bridal shower? He might have been mother at the bridal
mother and the grandmother. Yeah.
Grandmother at the bridal shower. Yes. But that I always thought deserved an Academy Award.
For sure.
Nobody. I mean, each of them. I could not believe when he did the thing, Coming to America. I thought, when they told me that was Eddie playing the barber, I said, no.
The barber, the Jewish guy at the end, that was the big surprise for everybody, too. Yeah.
I said, no, it couldn't be. They said, yeah, Rick Baker. I said, no, that was an actor. They said, no, that was Eddie Murphy. Yeah. Okay? No. Yeah. That was something. Yeah. Eyewitness.
And there's not a person, because I know you worked with Tyler Perry too on the Madea movie.
Yes, a Madea Christmas. Right. That was supposed to be somebody else's. I'm telling you. And he told me, I said, she'll be back. And he said, why? I said, because nobody's interested in Black women the way you are. Okay? So believe me, they'll be back. But he documented a character, which is very interesting, Madea, that we are all familiar with.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And not to say the movies are good, bad, or indifferent, but when Madea spoke, it was the truth. There's always a character in the family. On Instagram, they call her auntie now. Okay. They said, where auntie come from? Whose auntie is that? telling you, they did. Most of them never had children, so they can cuss everybody out in a way and don't care. But yeah, he's wonderful in that. That was only one. Yeah, he was that only one character. I played her cousin. Yeah. Her cousin. Yeah. We had a good time with that too. Yeah. I think I'm going to be working at his studio this week. I haven't seen him since then.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Have you been to the studio since?
No.
It's beautiful.
I hear it is incredible.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, I look forward to that.
Have a wonderful time.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, you know, Miss Anna Maria, I can have you all day. You are my soul sister. I feel like,
all right, baby.
I can talk to you all day. But thank you so much.
Thank you. What island are your people from?
My mom's from Jamaica and my dad's from Barbados.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's an interesting match now.
It is an interesting match.
I love Barbados. Love Barbados.
Yeah.
Used to go there a lot. A friend of mine has a guest house there. And I used to go down every few months. I mean, I just love the water there. The women are not very friendly in Barbados.
Well, they don't know you, yes.
Well, no. This was before the TV, because they didn't have a lot of TV then when I started going down.
Yeah, and even when I was a kid, even in Jamaica and Barbados, it was like one TV and maybe 2 channels or something like that.
Well, what they said, a woman in India said that they used to go and like the man at the grocery store would have the TV, and the kids and adults, if you wanted to see a show, you would go Saturday night and give a nickel.
Oh,
and you would see it. A woman, a memory. I was in a hotel in Atlanta, and this woman, all of a sudden she recognized me. I was there for 2 or 3 weeks, and then one day it hit her, and she said, "Oh my God, you on the show?" She was talking about Amen, and she said, "I used to go Saturday night and pay a nickel to see the show, so it would be a community thing." I know.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
It is. I mean, how people get to enjoy you, or how they get to enjoy themselves. It's like a movie, you know,
because of their life.
Yeah,
you're part of their life.
Yeah. Well, I am so happy.
Yes, I'm so happy too.
All right. Okay.
Thank you so much. This has been a history lesson. This has been a trip down memory lane. I'm going to go Google so many things and look up so many things. I'm excited. So thank you so much for being here. This was a treat. I could talk to you all day because I'm a history buff. And I really, really enjoy talking to you. I think you've done so many amazing things. And you have 132 credits. So we just... It was just the tip of the iceberg. Yeah.
Thank you.
So hopefully we'll meet again, because I would love to talk to you again. But thank you for being here. Thank you for being an amazing comedy diva. And thank you for being a legend. And have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Thank you.
Bye. Miss Anna Maria Horsford, I was already a fan. I'm even more of a fan now. She's amazing. Her career has been so phenomenal. She knows so many people, so many stories, has given us great memories and great comedy. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much, Miss Anna. We love you. And thank you for being a Comedy Diva watcher. So please like, subscribe. Let's hear what you got to say in the comments. What did you like about Miss Anna? What projects do you remember? What memories do you have? And who else do you want to see? So thank you so much. This has been the Comedy Divas Gurl Talk podcast. I'm Sharon B. Thank you so much. Bye.